What is going on, everybody? We are in our pre-show. We're gonna we usually give it 5 minutes. You want to do 5 minutes, or should we go quicker? What do you think, Therek?
No, 5 minutes works for me.
All right. So if you're watching this on demand, skip ahead 5 minutes. We'll be going live with the show officially at 10:09 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, welcome. I'm excited. This is crazy getting these shows together. We say it every week, but
Yeah.
it's so exciting and fun and frantic, right? Like you're typing notes like crazy. I'm trying to capture footage.
It's actually good for me because sometimes what happens in these streams is I end up watching chat too much instead of listening to what they're saying. What are people saying about what they're saying? But this way I'm focused on what they're saying and not what chat's necessary.
Yeah. Thank you guys for the follows. Everybody who's following early, really do appreciate that. We've had a few people follow us even yesterday. Primus MMO, if you're around, thank you for that. What is that? Arrow, Drachenfire, Yum Donut 80, DM Harms, thank you for the sub. We got Trassic, Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. I like that name. We got Lop Your Head Off. That's a good one. We got Lambasted. Yep, we got Lambasted. We don't do this ever. Can I pander? Is it okay if I pander?
Pander away, my man.
I don't pander much. I think if you guys watch our shows and our YouTube videos, we rarely ask you to subscribe. We rarely ask you to follow. I'm going to pander tonight because we're 10 followers away from 700 on Twitch.
Nice.
Can I pander for 10?
By all means.
Not the rope just followed us, so I appreciate that.
And that's 9 to go.
9 to go. Yeah, I'm again, sorry for the pandering. That'll be it. I won't pander anymore. But I don't know. I just always feel weird. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm super excited to grow our channel and thank people for following us and all that stuff. I just always feel weird about it. Like,
I think you've earned credit. You got the credit.
2 years and we haven't done it much, right?
No,
So,
right, exactly. You've built up the allowance for it. You have credit in the bank to pander for 9 subs.
Tiny bit of pandering, yeah.
Sure.
Not subs. 9 subs would be cool, but follows are easy.
Yeah.
You just hit a button, and then every once in a while we annoy you, and we don't annoy you much, right? It's like twice a month.
Yeah, it's not much. Like very little, actually.
Very little. And everybody who's here early, like I said, we're getting started here in about 2 more minutes. So I just want to give everyone a heads up. We do this anytime we do Pantheon PlusYou, we obviously do the dev recap, and then we'll do one show a month that's sort of like themed, right? And Therek always joins me on the recap because it's an undertaking. And then we typically get a guest from the community, whether it's a community member, whether it's another content creator or just someone who's a fan of Pantheon. We get them to do a secondary show. We did one with Nathan a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. It's long.
Yeah.
It was
Marathon show.
2:45, almost 3 hours. We don't like to do that to you. This show's typically supposed to be about an hour and a half. It was a long show, but it was a really fun show. So if you have time and you want to catch up, check that one out. Do it in pieces. Like watch like 45 minutes in 3 segments or something. But it was so good. We couldn't stop. Everyone was excited. The crowd, the chat was on fire. People were going nuts in the chat. I loved it. So can't stop.
Nathan's always very entertaining.
I love Nathan. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand his greatness.
I agree.
Let's say a few things here. Lambasted, thank you for the sub. Stony, thank you for the sub. Rival Moate. Rival Moate. I like it. Rival Moate, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Sarah Garda, thank you. Drac, 9 months, Drac. Awesome. I think you might be our Bromer. Love that. You guys really appreciate it. We're 5 away. We haven't even started the show yet.
A little pandering goes a long way.
Just so everyone knows, pandering will now be common. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
You realize how effective it is.
Geez, pandering. It's the way to be. Pandered up. We got 1 minute left, and we're gonna get this show on the road. We'll start talking. Yeah, I gotta tell you, Sagrada has been one of our really generous members who's been giving a lot of subs out to people, and I don't know what I did to deserve it. I thank him incredibly. So I love that. So, and he just threw out there, if we get to 700 followers, he's going to give out 5 more tier 1 subs. So,
wow. Nice.
I don't know what I've done to earn your amazing respect and gratitude, but I hope we will continue. It's probably Therek. Let's be real. Everybody likes Therek. Nobody likes Minus. It's cool.
Yeah, right. Keep saying that. Just you being you, man.
Sometimes that's good. Sometimes people don't like that, Therek. I'm just saying.
I just soften the harsh corners. That's all I do. Think of it that way.
Well, we're past 5 minutes. Let's get this show going. Are you ready? And speaking of Nathan, right? Who's made our original viewer warning. I can't replace this. It's like a thing of the past. Here we go.
Bring on Nathan.
Oh, we're live? We're streaming right now? Cool. Awesome, man. Let me just
Welcome to episode 49. You know what the next one is?
Big one. Big 5-0.
I should probably start planning for that.
Well, we'll come up with something together. Maybe we'll think of something.
Yeah, maybe we'll have like a Pantheon holiday wish list show or something.
Ooh,
that would be something fun. I don't know. Who knows? Everybody, welcome to Pantheon PlusYou. We've now done this 49 weeks, but it's been going on for quite a bit longer than that. We used to do it weekly. Then we realized that the last thing we want to do is overdo it. There's only so many topics to cover. And we decided, you know what, let's pull it back a little bit because we want this show to be exciting. We want it to be an event. We don't just want it to be weekly. So we do it about twice a month. We'll always do one after the, after the dev stream, because I think that's really important. People like to come on and discuss it. There's a lot to talk about. It's like a freebie episode for planning. It's chaotic to get it going, but once it's going, we're good. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do a show and we'll try to advertise it the best we can. And I'll try to do it a little earlier. If I can. Sometimes the guests are it's last minute and everything like that. So, but typically we'll do another show every month that covers some kind of topic that the community is talking about, kind of tie it in. Everything we do is community, right, Therek? I mean,
yeah, everything.
Yeah. And then, for those of you that don't know, we also do a podcast. We're actually on episode
35.
Wow, 35 straight weeks. That is a weekly offering. It's about an hour long, give or take a couple minutes. And we do that and talk about, what's going on in the community. We actually go to Reddit, we go to Facebook, we go to the forums, we go to Twitter, and we actually cover your guys' contributions. Like we'll read your tweets, we'll read your comments, whatever we think is pretty strong. So that's been really fun. I love Pantheon PlusYou because I love the interaction and bringing the community on. But I have a lot of fun producing the Rewind, and we're going to get into this stream here soon, guys. I know we're doing a lot of talking, but before we do, Therek, do you want to tell people what's coming with our next 2 Rewinds? Yeah,
we have some big shows. So this weekend's Rewind is going to be part 1 of an interview we did with Kevin Jordan. If you don't know who that is, he is a former class designer for Vanilla WoW. So he was there right from the very beginning. We talked to him. We spent a long time talking to him. We spent 2.5 hours basically talking to him, covering things like class design, meta, itemization in MMOs, just player behavior, genre, sort of where the genre's at. And we got 2 episodes of the Rewind out of it. So first one's this weekend, noon Sunday on the Pantheon Plus YouTube channel. You can also download it from Spotify, iTunes, wherever. And then part 2 will be the following weekend. And we'll wrap up the interview then. So if you guys like to talk MMOs, obviously you do, you're here. If you want to hear from somebody who's been in the genre for a long time and is one of the core people that brought WoW to life, tune in. We're gonna have a good time.
Without a doubt, I was really, really proud of just how that all went, to be honest. It was nerve-wracking. I was very nervous to do it. Like, this is a pretty legit guy. Don't get me wrong, I was super nervous when we interviewed Jabba. Super nervous. Just out of respect more than anything. But it's been really cool. I think you guys will enjoy it. As Therek said, there's a lot of really cool topics we discuss. We tie it into Pantheon in a big way. So it's not just, talking about WoW. I can promise you guys it is very little WoW content. So please don't worry about that. Okay, so for tonight, I don't know what's going on. The cloud bot is not happy. It is not a happy tool right now. Our commands aren't working. For some reason, our quotes aren't working. Our poll, hopefully, let's see if our poll works. Started the poll. Okay, the poll works. That's really all that matters. The other bot is just more annoying than anything. So the poll is up. You guys can see the poll up there. Every time we do a dev stream, we want to talk about, what did you guys think of the poll? You can vote on the poll by looking at the different options. We have great stream, okay stream, meh stream, not great. And you can see right after it, if you hit exclamation point, and then vote great, exclamation point, vote okay, exclamation point, vote meh, exclamation point, vote not great, one word. You can actually vote, and that'll update live on the poll there. So please vote. Let's see what everyone's thinking. And actually now the CloudBot, what is going on with CloudBot? I'm going to turn it on and off and see if that breaks everything in the world. Let's see. It definitely did. It really, there. Oh, it's working. Everything's working. We got some hype. I'm doing hype here. All right, let's see if Discord works. Choo-choo Discord. I don't know why that happened. Okay, so the commands aren't working, but the poll is, so who cares? So that's all that really matters. We have 3 votes already for great. All right, so what's going to happen tonight is you guys will see, we have the footage rolling there. We record it and try to get it up on the show. So you guys, if you missed any of it, you're going to see kind of just like a visual run through of what they showed on the stream, and that will loop depending on how long this goes. So the other really important part of this is Discord. And Drac, if you wouldn't mind linking our Discord server. You can go to Pantheon.plus and you can join it right from there. There it is. Drac just linked it. If you can link that throughout the course of the show a little bit, that'll take you into our Discord. And the reason why our Discord is important, because we use a multitude of programs when we do this show so that you can see Therek, you can hear Therek, you can see me, but we have a green room, like voice channel in our Discord, and you can jump into that. And what it does is it tells us that you want to come on the air. And we'll invite you on the air. You can talk about the topic. You can ask questions. You can do whatever you want. It's kind of like a sports radio show. So if you haven't been here before, that's what we do. Yep. The green room is going well, Drax said. So get in there. We'll get to everybody we can. Now, I've rambled a lot. We are 4 followers away, by the way, from 700. So hopefully you can earn yours. Therek, why don't you take over? Why don't you start going through your notes? Let's talk about it. And I'll jump in as well. So.
Yeah, there was a tons of information in this one. I have a lot of notes. A lot of it was me staring at the screen, trying to get a little closer to see some of the smaller notes on Jared's artwork, because I wanted to find those little nuggets of lore information. I thought this stream was going to be a lot of a lore centric, and I think if you looked a little closer at some of them, there definitely was some stuff that you can read some things into, but yeah, I mean, I can just sort of run through the creatures that were shown, and I'll get the pronunciations wrong on these for sure, but I really enjoyed seeing his artwork. I love his style of art. I think it goes really well with the spirit of the game, and it meshes well with JN's lore as well, I think. So there's like a synchronicity there. But he showed.
Did you just say it's going to be bad for you to announce names?
That's why I'm going to try. I'm not even going to ask you to do it, because I know you'll butcher it. And I mean, I have to, I'm supposed to be the lore guy here, so I have to try and get these right at least.
Yeah, but see, when you say it, if you butcher it, people are just going to assume it's correct. If I say it, they're going to be like, no. That's
good. Well, finally, somebody's just assuming everything I say is correct. It's about time in my life somebody just believed that. So yeah, no, we saw a lot of them. I mean, the first one was that bear thing, the Ogrim. First we saw the Gasbat. That's true actually. And it's funny, if you looked on that Gasbat artwork, there was a quote from Wister the White, who we saw a little later in the stream, right? He was the merchant kind of guy, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so he was the Ratkin merchant that we saw. And so actually on that quote, on that artwork, there was a quote from Wister the White. It's kind of cool. I liked what Jared said about the beasts. The monsters sort of, if you're in a civilized area, they're going to look pretty standard. There's going to be bears. They're going to be just sort of regular types of beasts. And then the further you get away from those standardized areas, you're going to see wilder, more sort of feral, more, mythic sort of looking creatures. And I love how he showed that Ogrim sort of evolving into different things. So we saw that. We saw the Strider. That was the elk sort of looking thing, which you can see actually on the screen right now.
Yeah.
the cowled glasswing. I don't want to go through all these, but it was just so cool. And you know, his attention to detail. He talked about some of the the coloring and the lines are so with some of these pieces, the lines are very fluid. And what I noticed was that because a lot of this is from Fairthale, like they sort of mesh well with the architecture we've seen of Fairthale. So the arches and the doorways and all the design that we've seen. So I love that sort of connection to it.
That's very true. Very true.
The other thing he said, I think was really cool, probably, smart way to go about it is he thinks about the biome first, right? Before coming up with any of the creatures. So he looks at like what biome is this creature existing in and goes from there. And I think that's, it probably lends itself well to good design. There are some names here I'm not going to try and pronounce because they were way too much, like this barbed tail hemivistoid or something like that. Anyway, can't say that one. But this is one that you mentioned while we were watching, and I didn't even catch it. But that Veil Strider, the sort of tiger-looking thing, Ranger can summon, right? Summon Veil Striders. One of the skills a Ranger has. How awesome is that?
I was like, this was cool. Until there it is, Veil Strider right on the screen.
Yeah, so that's summonable by Rangers, which is pretty awesome if you ask me.
I gotta be. We went past that picture. I don't know why. There's sometimes it's something little that I really like. And by the way, guys, if my volume is bad, let me know. I know last time we did Pantheon PlusYou, people said I was actually a little quiet. That never happens. So just let me know if you need me up a little bit. But the bird with the messenger bag, man, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I loved it. What's it called?
That was the cowled glasswing.
Yeah.
It was an elvish messenger bird. That was the one I was thinking of when I was talking about the lines, the flowing lines and the bright colors.
It's so cool. Like it's such a little thing, but like, I don't know, instead of a bird just flying by, you see a bird with like a messenger pack on it. You're like, oh, I wonder what it's delivering.
Exactly. And you noticed, did you notice all the creatures were super tall? Like I love how they had the human scale reference on the side, so you could sort of gauge how big these things were. You're looking at on the screen right now, and that the water bird there is taller than a human, right? So
even the frog is like, for the depth of the frog's pretty large in comparison.
Pretty considerable, right? So, really good attention to detail. We also saw some artwork, which was great from Fey Hollow. Now, we've seen a couple of those art pieces before. They're on the website, actually. But there were some we hadn't seen before. And Fey Hollow is one of the areas within Greater Fairthale that there is some lore surrounding it. So hopefully get that back on the website soon enough, and we can sort of connect them again.
Yeah, and just because it was said, and I just want to bring it up, I think it was Trasic. He said that he would love to buy like large prints of like the concept art. Oh man, would that be awesome? Like if they would raffle those off or do some kind of like donation thing that you could get like a framed autographed version of it, that would be so cool. So if anyone's listening in VR, there are people who would really love to put those on the wall. I'd love to have one like right back here somewhere. It'd be awesome. So that would be really cool if you guys did that. And obviously, I think the art book's going to be really, really cool. So very excited for that. I do want to give a couple of shout outs. We got a couple more Bounty Code. Thank you for the follow. Ronick, thank you for the follow. And Secure. We're 2 away. And I haven't done this yet, Therek, so I do have to do the custom sub/follow thing that we try to do not too often, but here you go. All right, so we have to do that every once in a while when we get the subs or follows. So, so
I think the bear needs to be updated to the ogre that we saw before.
Oh, you know what? Challenge accepted. I will do my best to crop that out so we can see it. So
nice. Yeah. So anyway, we saw lots of, there was so much artwork shown and it's so great that Jared was able to give all these details. And, a lot of this he talked about it. It's not just artwork. Like a lot of this is being put into the game. There was a few in particular that
you would think we planned
further
this
along.
because like as you're talking about it, it's coming up on the stream, and that is not. This is just
Right.
video is just running. So,
Right. So that's Fey Hollow,
yep.
and it's yeah, I love that. Love that art. Yeah. What else? I mean, again, saw some really big stuff near the end. The territorial wart maw was one of them. The plumed runner. A lot of these pieces they talked about. We moved from just Fairthale into the plains. They didn't say silent plains.
It
They
was the
said
Silent
nervous.
Plains.
Yeah, it's got to
It
be
was,
right.
there was so if you watch the video back, and it might come up here soon, I'll try to call it out. Like I'll watch it as it's coming up. But there was like little quotes underneath some of the frames as he was moving through them quickly. And there was one that talked about like a battlefield. And even
Okay.
Joppa said Silent
Joppa
Plains.
said, yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see it. But we know, so what we know of Silent Plains thus far is that it was an area that it was an epic battle happened. And it was just this crazy war. And the reason they call it Silent Plains isn't because it's like a silent area, but it's this because of how crazy it was, because of all the death, because of this war and this battle that took place there. You know, the plains now are kind of like from what they were, they're more silent now. There's that
Yeah.
death, that kind of all the death that happened there and all the sacrifice that happened there is what they call it Silent Plains for. So I'm really excited to see what that area is all about. And I think if you have a large plain area, you know, these huge creatures they're showing, that's a perfect place for them. Perfect place.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Where you can see them from really far away, you know, and they're just so massive. I love that. Yeah, the Silent Plains. It's such typical J.N. Gerhardt sort of style of echoing, you know, like one contrasting one thing against another. This grand, loud, you know, epic war contrasted by the epic, you know, echoing silence. I love that.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we saw some of the creatures that are going to be inhabiting that area, which was very cool, and yeah, that's and then yeah, again, like I said, the Wister the White, that Ratkin, which is cool because we hadn't really seen Ratkin outside of them as enemies in any streams or any sort of information up to this point. We've
Yeah,
seen them
we
in
saw there was a lot of
Halner
concept
Cave.
art, right? A lot of concept art
Mhm.
earlier. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, the Hellnar Cave, and then just
Mhm.
the was like 3 or 4 concept art of like the different colors. I think it was.
Yeah, like there's a lot of information about them. It's not on the website right now, but there's a whole thing about their society and their history. Anyway, so it was neat to sort of see this merchant, this thing you're going to be able to interact with as a
I
non-aggressive
loved it.
NPC, maybe, unless you
It's
can
so
kill it, and
cool.
then people will just camp it.
It's so cool too for them, like the way that I jokingly said this, but this is 100% true. Like I'm not a great artist. Like I'm really good at like Photoshop and manipulating and taking something and manipulating. And I used to draw a lot when I was a kid. But even at my best in drawing, I never could like he's drawing a leg and it's this huge like I've never drawn something that had such meaning as the simple legs that he drew on his character.
Yeah, yeah, I can't draw at all, so I live vicariously through every artist I see. So I'm always impressed
I
by.
just want it to look like a leg. If it just looks like a hand, drawing a hand is the hardest thing in the world to be. I can't stop for meaning. I have to figure out how to draw the hand. Right? So, quick
Well,
quote from Joppa in the
yeah.
chat, just to follow up. He says, "The enemy ratkin you've seen are the drawn to the powerful crystals of Helnir Cave and driven mad with sickened rage. Beyond the drawn, ratkin are relatively cultured and sophisticated." So that's actually a
That's
really
awesome.
cool. You probably knew that somehow.
I read it. Yeah, I read that piece. But I didn't know if they, you know, like I knew they had culture, but I didn't know, you know, I didn't know they could be sort of outside of interacting with
Mhm.
other races. I thought maybe they were just sort of like enclosed within their own species. But I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, great little lore drop there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll move on to the next part of the stream when they were showing the group play, because I think there was some really important information here. I think Sacred was talking about basically breaking down the templates that they have for challenge, I guess, is what the way you would look at it is, you know, in terms of 3 different categories of challenge template. There's a general, the
This is
dungeon,
where
and
you're
the.
starting to get into my let's go. Let's go here. I love
I
this.
know, it was really interesting. And raid, they didn't talk about the raid one too much, but they did talk about the general category, and these each have subcategories of their own. So the way I took this was, you know, thinking of it as an overlay on an area, right? So is this a general area with in the general open world with a sort of weaker area, there's the standard, and then there's the unique. And in the weaker ones, that's where you can potentially solo a couple things here and there. Maybe you don't necessarily need a group for everything. There might be some targets you can do just as a single player. And then there's, and then the group centric stuff becomes more and more challenging, right?
Yeah.
The other thing they said about dungeons, and we think of a dungeon, we think of an enclosed space underground, but that doesn't necessarily mean it isn't what that means necessarily. What they're talking about is more highlighting the difficulty from a group level. So this is a dungeon sort of template is going to be where there's not going to be really any soloing in this template.
Yeah, mobs are going to take longer to kill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really interesting from a way of crafting an area. And and Sacred talked about how this allows
a big part of open world, right? Like Pantheon's trying to do something, and without spoilers here, as we talked to Kevin Jordan, the biggest thing that would you agree with me, and you guys will hear it, but when we started in the second part, you'll hear about open world and instances. This is a big spoiler. He was that really drove him to like, wow, like I want to see how they do that. Like he openly said in a way that like that was the most impressive piece that they're bringing back open world, because there's just so many games that are skipping out on it. And you can tell this general excitement from him on like what that could mean for that social community aspect that he's really big on. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he was intrigued was my impression on how they're going to tackle this, because it is it's a challenge in a lot of different ways. And in the lately I've been reflecting on like, how much group content is too much, like where is that line in terms of like, I have to be able to do something when I just want to log on for 30 minutes and run around, like I have to be able to do something. So what does that mean? And I'm not advocating in any way for any sort of, less group centric game. I love, this is what it's all about.
Yeah. But
there is that aspect to it where, if I'm not a crafter, what can I do for 30 minutes? Right. And I think that this template that Sacred was talking about here really is cool, because it takes that into account in my reading. What we are sort of given is like, we've got these overlays that we want to put, and we want to make sure we have balance so we can make that experience available to all the players. At least that's my interpretation. I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that, but Sacred also talked about how it allows for customization. It's not locked into this template. There is room to change it, make it different, make it unique, add some things, take away some things.
Yeah. So let's talk a little more, because that's where I was really intrigued. Joppa, you shot me down immediately if you're still there. I love you still, but you hurt my heart. In the dev console, one of the things I saw right away is that we got a recap of the fight. Oh, I love it. I wish I got to see that. It's so exciting. It's not a damage meter. Hey, so people who hate damage meters, it's an after the fact, just let you know, right? But it was interesting because I want to point out some stuff. So I took two clips real quick. I was like, oh, we'll clip that. There was a recap of a fight with the Oshavan Bloodsworn, and there were two of them. So this is interesting. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this Bloodsworn was a dungeon level mob, right? It was made for a group. So what a lot of people talk about is time to kill. And there were two fights. Now, this was a 5-man group. You had a rogue, wizard, 2 shaman, and a dire lord. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So it was interesting because the first fight took 59 seconds. And the fight, it's interesting, they actually broke it down by ticks. So you had, and think about ticks, like if a dot ticks, it's that internal timer of the game, tick, and it does different things. Things will activate. So you have a 59-second fight, had 1,184 ticks. Someone needs to do the math to figure out how long the ticks are, because that's interesting.
Won't be me.
So yeah, right. I'll have to do that and throw that out there. It's a little nugget there. But so what's interesting is it's a flat number. Here's how much damage you did. Here's how much healing you did. It was interesting because the first fight this is a dungeon mob. The time to kill was 59.20 seconds. So about 1 minute to kill a dungeon style boss, a mob with a group of 5. Now, and you said say the number of ticks. Number of ticks was 1,184 ticks by 59.20 seconds. So it was interesting because in the first fight, Madaki's a beast. Like VR, your number one play. And I think I drafted Madaki, didn't I? I think I did.
Yeah.
So Team Minus, by the way, hands down,
Inside joke.
yeah, right. Well, yeah. Madaki, hands down, he's the man. He's on Team Minus, and he is not only leading everybody in healing, he's leading everybody in damage. That's the type of player that's on Team Minus. I just want to say that. So, but it was interesting because you had a shaman who's DPSing and healing, leading. So you had Joppa playing the wizard. He was only at 460 damage, and we're just joking about all these numbers, guys, but just to kind of look at it. You had McLean, which I think that was Ben. What's Ben changing his name again?
Yeah, he had a different name. Yeah, he definitely had a different name.
Joppa, listen, we got EG, right? For Kyle. But Ben can't keep changing his name. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. So but then Sacred was obviously cheating because he actually led a fight later. I think he told people to hold off so he get more damage. I didn't catch it. But it was interesting just to see. So the second fight, Joppa wasn't fighting. He was just talking. So they were carrying Joppa in the second fight. And it took 81 seconds without Joppa to kill the same mob. And in that fight, we had a little bit better rogue damage from Ben. So I was a little happier there. But it was pretty interesting just to see. I mean, Madaki turned it on. Like, mad props, Madaki. I hope you're listening. Or if you're not, I'm going to send you a message about your beast mode. But it was interesting. So you're looking at like this 5-man group, 60 seconds, 1 minute time to kill for dungeon style enemies. I love that. I mean, they're obviously tuning. Everyone who doesn't know, Tyler is Sacred. Sacred was talking in depth about the fact that there's a lot of balancing going on. The testers, if you're testing this game, please give that feedback about time to kill. I personally like, Therek, a longer time to kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I think it needs to. I think there's a sweet spot for it. I don't know what it is. I'm not a math guy, but there's definitely a sweet spot for it.
It feels good. Like even in the rogue video you guys saw, we had a group of 6. We had, what was our DPS? We had 2 Dire Lords
and a wizard
and a rogue, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think our time to kill was somewhere, I think people had mapped it out. I saw someone make a comment. I think it was somewhere around 30, 40 seconds and those are like non-dungeon mobs, right? 30 seconds, 20 seconds somewhere. I love that. I mean, there's people that want to hire a faster time to kill, and I don't enjoy that. I think even basic mobs, like, everybody talks about Pantheon being a difference in a game with like Pantheon. We're not heroes. We're not the heroes. We're adventurers, right? So having the enemies of the world be stronger than us, where we need 5 of them to take on a couple things, is pretty cool to me. I think time to kill is a really cool piece of that. So
yeah, I like what Joppa said in the video about just the challenge being the hallmark of the game, and it totally is. But he also said, what he said was the players need breathing room to enjoy exploration. I think that's really important. I really like how he put that, because that's what I was saying earlier about, like, I want to explore stuff. I don't want to be murdered every time I try to climb up a mountain. I want to be challenged by, enemies that are difficult in group situations. And I want to be scared I want to respect the environment. I don't want to feel free to just wander around aimlessly and mindlessly. But breathing room, I think, is very important.
Yeah.
So from an overall perspective, and I really like that he said that.
I agree.
Yeah. So I'll just finish up with the patch notes then, because there was some cool stuff in there before we get to the green room. I don't want to keep people waiting too long, but the new dungeon in the works, Mangle Rock, not something I've ever heard of before in the lore. So I don't know where that is. Kind of sounds like an ogre thing a little bit to me, maybe. So who knows? But that's cool. And it's already in gray box form, which is pretty awesome. I'm sure you noticed this. I think I heard you sort of perking up throughout this part whenever they talked about refactoring, how everything that's been done post refactoring, right? There was a lot of stuff that's been done post refactoring. Yep. I think that's really important because of how big a deal the refactoring was. So like the Nashura raid boss, or not raid boss, the Nashura boss, wherever that is, and Sleepless being the raid boss that we've seen. So those are both post refactoring. Some of the acclamation has been hooked up since as well.
And you saw like how excited we were when we hit acclamation. I mean,
Yeah, when we hit that cold climate, and that's
Oh,
we saw that on the screen when they were fighting. That was that frost around the edge of the screen, right? Joppa said they were in a tier 1
yeah. Which is
climate.
what we were in. So same
Mhm.
thing, slow. You guys, everyone who watched our PA5 video, we got real slow. That was the same thing they were in. You could see like the slow movement
And
without
you
the
feel it. Like
acclimation.
you
Oh,
you
it's
feel it
crazy.
when you play, right? Like you feel slow and fighting that cold that's trying to
The
slow you
sound.
down.
I am. I don't know if I've ever said this before in any game I've ever played, but experiencing the sounds that came with the acclimation when we were there, that wind blowing, and you can hear it in the video, is I can't wait to see like what's the audio going to be for all the other acclamations, because that was so cool.
Yeah.
It was like when we went into the cave and we first started hearing it like really pick up, or like right when we got near the front of the cave, like I'm so into acclimation. I
Yeah.
really am. I hope that we get screen effects for all the types. I know there's some people who probably say it's a distraction, but I don't know. I maybe it over time it won't be as exciting, but it's really exciting to have your screen change and just all this, like all these things happen like you're in this other, area. So Segrat said
Yeah, I
toxic is
saw
gonna
that.
be Karen's screen manager.
I was gonna mention that too, because the next climate that they said is they've got the toxic
That's it.
climate
Yeah.
coming online soon, their first one, which is pretty cool. And then Segrat, it's gonna be a Karen screaming for the
Yeah.
manager.
Trasak said it's horizontal progression. You sure you like it? Yes, because it's horizontal progression layered on vertical. Because the
Mm,
enemies we're fighting are going to be vertical. Like having better gear to kill them is good. And don't forget something. So there's gear that's going to constantly be vertical. I think I'm speaking out of my ass here. So know that Joppa, don't get too mad and feel free to correct. Um, like swords, like your weapons, a lot of the main gear. What we've seen is that there are these accessory gear spots, right? Like I believe. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because we have this glyph, right? So the glyph system is going to help us acclimate. So the glyph system is this horizontal progression, and then the like some of your main gear is still going to be vertical, and it's a nice
right.
combination, in my opinion, of how it should work. So yes, I do like it, even though it is horizontal. Definitely like that. And
I
Drax says
enjoy it.
toxic links you to Reddit. So
It just pops up on your screen. Yeah, no, I enjoy horizontal progression a lot. We haven't really talked about that too much. One of these days we'll get into it, but yeah, I think that's a lot of fun. And the last thing was some of the animations, the hovering suite of animations, which is pretty cool. Small detail, but things like levitation. Joppa described it as being a big achievement. So it's always good to hear when they're hitting those things that they feel are difficult to do, and getting those things done. And the enchanter class is coming online for the next testing session, which is awesome, and can't wait to see what that looks like. So
yeah.
those are the notes that I took.
A lot of good stuff, man. I'm so happy you take notes on that because I'm all over the place. I'm in chat, I'm taking video and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you making this show possible for taking all those notes. We're gonna get to the green room very soon. We see you in there. DM Harms, we see you Drac, we see you Idiotech, Hoye and Isin. It looks like you guys got put in AFK, so you can jump back up there when you're ready. We're gonna go right to the green room here very shortly. Before we do, on the rewind, last week we did a very small opening segment before the music kicked in, before the show kicked in. We just wanted to say, that our hearts were with VR, especially at this time of year with what it means. And, this isn't something we're going to just go into and talk a deep bit about, because I think it doesn't need to be. Everybody knows. Um, and I really, really mean this. Jared's section on Molab was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Me and Therek are on a voice communication, and we have the video set up so that we can jump into this pretty quickly. And I don't think either one of us said a word while
No.
he was sketching and telling the story and sharing his deep thoughts and turning something that hurts a lot into something that's so motivational, and tying it into what kind of person Molad was. I wish that I had got to know him more, because I will openly tell you guys that I unfortunately did not. I didn't, and I'm sure there's people in the community who have. Yeah, and DM Harm said it was just very oddly peaceful. It was for us fans to get that sight to hear his words, the beauty in it, and to find beauty in difficulty. I think that, geez, it seems like every day in 2020, there's something more that hits us every day after day after day. There's another layer on this year that's tough for everyone. And I gotta say, I don't know if Jared will ever listen to this, but unbelievably moving. It touched me in a way in my soul that I can't even explain. And I just want to say that was incredible. So, I won't go on anymore, but
No,
I think they're from Pantheon Plus and everybody here that's part of this team. Our hearts and our wishes and our prayers and our condolences, everything we can goes out to the friends and family of Molad. Everything he brings, it sounds amazing. He sounds like such an incredible individual. And, the VR, our hearts are with you too. This community is here because you all enabled us to be a community. And that means we're here for you too, because you gave us a chance. So that's all I'll say.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I won't add to it. It was moving. It was well said. And it was, as his words are his reflection of his art. Clearly a deep thinking guy with a lot of, beauty in his heart and caring for his friends and family and colleagues. So again, our condolences to VR and the team.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So how do you move on from that? Well, you do it with what he said, that strength, that passion to move on and remember the good things, right? And the good things about this game is this community is incredible. So let's get to the community. Right now, we're going to go into the green room. So if you're not in the green room, jump in. All you got to do is jump into that room and we'll pull you in and you get the mic. You can talk about whatever you want. You can ask questions. You can talk about the stream. We'll ask you some questions. But if you've been in the green room for too long and haven't talked, it might have moved you to AFK. So we have a few people in the AFK channel. Check it out if you want to come on the show. Hoye, Idiotech, and Ison. You guys are all in the AFK. If you want to jump on, jump back in the green room. If you're not in the green room, it's pretty simple. I'm going to hit ! Discord. All you got to do is join. Jump right in that voice channel, the green room. And when we're ready, we'll let you know and we'll pull you in. So we're really excited to hear from you guys. Let us know anything you want. So let's go ahead and start with Idiotech because he's there. He's been in there for a bit. And then we'll go to DM Harms and then we'll see who else is there. So Idiotech, if you want to unmute your microphone, we'll bring you right in. This is the fun part of the show where the community gets to talk.
That's the best part.
All right. So here he comes. Idiotech, what is going on? How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. How are you? How are you guys?
Good. We're doing great. Awesome. Great to hear you.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. I've been busy with work and everything, but I got to catch up all today.
That's a good thing.
I'm not gonna complain. Like, oh god, gotta make money. Damn it.
Exactly.
But yeah, today was a good day. I really enjoyed that stream.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of it? What stood out to you?
Honestly, much like you guys, I'm not running a show, but I do take notes. Just
have at it, please.
Just to and I sound like I'm out of breath, and it's because I just did like 40 push-ups. I was like, "Oh, be first, okay."
I could go for some push-ups. I'll tell you that. I'm not.
I'm between.
Yeah.
Yes, but So I thought right off the bat, I think seeing how much thought goes into these different monsters. And not only that, I'll say this. I feel like most of what we've been seeing, and I know you guys can't speak on playing or anything like that, but most of what we've been seeing have been, mobs that were people, mobs that were humanoids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of what we've been
seeing. It's a great
seeing,
point. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So we've seen, he showed us over 10 different monster-like things that really I like a lot. When I play a game, humanoids are cool. I played WoW, that whole SM area, 30 to 40 was fun, but I had more fun fighting monsters,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like, a fantasy game. You can do humans, you can do humanoids in any sort of genre, but, high fantasy, you get those exotic monsters. You can't get anywhere else, right? I agree with you. And I think that, I think that we have seen, we've seen some general in their streams that they've shown, we've seen stuff like snakes and foxes and general wildlife running around, but nothing exotic, nothing crazy. And
exactly. And kind of that early game feel, which it should be. You shouldn't be fighting dragons at level 1.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm really glad to know that there is that kind of fantasy. And he did say it at one point, this very alien looking monsters to kind of play into the way the world is. And I already see kind of an identity across all of the monsters. Like they're not just like he had a real knack for taking, okay, bird, but how can I make this bird super unique? Putting different feather patterns on it. And I want to see the colorization and everything that's going to go with it. But in my notes here, I wrote what I don't know if this happens to you guys, but when you sit there and you think about maybe, you'll theory craft and you'll go, oh man, that would be awesome. This would be awesome. And he was saying it from like an almost theory craft point of view. And it was overwhelming me in my brain to see how much he has to work with gatherers, the crafting system. These monsters are going to drop specific things.
It's a great point. Absolutely.
He brought up that first like bear lion-esque looking thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it drops a jewel or a rock off of its back, and then that can be used in crafting.
That's a great point. It's funny too, because some of the previous artwork we've seen, I'm thinking of the his artwork from the halfling village in Wild's End. There's a lot of animal pieces that are used in that artwork. So like there's wings from like glimmer creatures of some sort. Okay. So he's thinking about those things, when he's creating this art, about these are going to be items that people are going to be using in some capacity, or I'm going to create the world in some capacity, right? So definitely. There's a consistency across the artwork that I really like, and I think that's what you were saying as well. Across the whole, there's a theme that it's got a consistent artwork, and at this stage of the game, when it's being developed, that's one of the greatest things, is that you get this there's not that much variance from from one place to another in terms of the style of artwork, and it's all coming from the same sort of creative mind, so to speak. But
you definitely have a more of a collaboration on lore than I think I was even perceptive of. Like lore isn't just the story of some orc, which is awesome in what you do, Therek, and what I've watched to really take in the lore of this game is amazing. But those are stories, and the lore really will build from and I'll say this: I'm playing actually on a private server of FF11 again, and I'm playing with like 6 or 7 friends, having a good time, and there's more lore based in the items and the things that you're like, oh, I gotta go farm this or whatever it is, that really set you into the world than there is just the stories of the world. So I think Jared actually has a pretty big hand in what will eventually be the lore of this game.
100%.
So, a couple of things before the community here makes me do something ridiculous. So I've talked about this a lot. We did hit 700. Thank you guys. Thank you to Steegers, Annoying Llama. Thank you. And looks like we're getting some gifted subs handed out here. So amazing.
Oh, tender away, man.
Yeah. Okay, a couple things before. Everyone wants me to do push-ups, Derek. I think I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to actually do push-ups. I'm not good at push-ups, so this is gonna be real bad, real bad. And you guys are gonna have to make fun of me forever. So it's gonna be great. But
I'm gonna be doing the show solo.
Yeah, I'm gonna die on the floor right here. Okay, but before I do the push-ups, because I will do that. That's what you guys want. I'll do the push-ups. Google just said. My Google just said, sorry, I don't understand when I said I'll do push-ups. I swear to God. Okay, so real quick, the lore piece. What's interesting to me is I've talked a lot about Rift, right? That when Rift first came out, I really enjoyed it quite a bit. And what hurt me was that I didn't think the lore was very good. Specifically that when we got to raid fights, there wasn't much behind it that made me excited to sort of kill the mobs, to engage the mobs. I didn't feel it, right? And it's interesting because I don't know, maybe it's just guys like Therek and Chris Kane, and maybe you guys are just vitally more important than I realize, but I'm so attuned to the Pantheon lore. Like I really am. And I've said, and I think we talked about this quite a bit, Therek, is that if you look at what are considered, now don't roast me for this, guys. I'm talking about numbers only, but what are considered the best MMORPGs out there by subscription base, is it's pretty undeniable that the top 3 right now are, WoW, Final Fantasy 14, and ESO. And the interesting thing that those games have is that every single one of them has a very large back library of lore. They're making games that have, making the RPG set or the MMO with the lore is easy. They just go back and they have it all. And I find that what's hard for a newer MMORPG that's on a new IP is that having that depth of the lore, having the ability to, familiarize its players and keep them interested. It's very easy when you have an IP that has a bunch of things behind it. And I got to tell you that, like, a lot of people, there's people out there who are frustrated with how long this game's taking to come out. Listen, I get it. That's fair. I'm okay, but it's fair. But in this time, like, not only the community building, I'm learning more about the lore than I would have ever learned about any other MMORPG, specifically a new IP. So I have a lot of love for that. And when you brought up the fact that we're seeing these creatures he's talking about and the amount of lore that's tied into them, it is incredible. Like, there's so much meaning. I get that people are like, I don't want to see rocks. I don't want, Vandrad's famous for saying, I don't want to see more roots and trees and rocks and leaves. And stuff. But, like, the fact that there's so much thought put into the smallest details, where I think other games just gloss it and just put a tree up. The tree itself matters. And when you talk about adventuring in a game and you talk about lore and you talk about the keeper system, like, I don't think enough can be said about how important that is. And I know, Therek, you'll agree.
Well, I was just going to say, I've tried to say enough about it and I still haven't done it. There's still more to say. I've still got more ideas and more things I want to talk about it on.
And please keep it coming too.
I have to take my socks off if I'm going to do push-ups.
Oh, wait, are we doing it?
I'm doing it.
I think he's doing it. I have a feeling I'm going to be like doing the whole show after he passes out on the floor here.
I think you guys will be able to see me. I'm going to move my chair here.
Do we have a number in mind? Did they
no, I'm just going to do.
I thought it was 700. I thought it was in line with the number of follows.
If I do 10 and I don't die, I'm going to be pretty excited with myself.
Okay.
We'll see. Someone said 40. What am I? Can I do it on my knees? No, I'm going to do regular push-ups. 700 push-ups, 40. Therek should do push-ups. No, I got you, Therek. You don't have to do push-ups.
I think 10 is solid.
10.
So I'll hopefully you guys can hear me struggle here. Now, here's I am impromptu doing push-ups on a Pantheon PlusYou stream. Let's make sure we know that first. It is a thank you. You guys want to see it, I'm going to do it. But the gas bat just laughed at me, by the way. Don't judge my form. This is going to be
Sacred's going to be judging you. Sacred's already judging you.
Sacred's here?
He's judging you.
That's awful. Sacred, turn the stream off. Unfollow me. Just kidding. All right, here we go. This is going to be bad.
All right, idiot. You ready for this?
There, should we count?
It's me and you now, man. Yeah. We're going to count.
How much stuff is in I don't know. Do I do it facing the camera?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to.
Yeah.
He can't hear us. I'm just going to say anything.
It looks okay from this angle. So, okay, I'm going to try to do 10, and then if I can, I'll keep going. Keep going there. You're going to go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
No, we're all in, man.
Oh, that hits the ground. That helps. 2.
1.
2. What? 1? No, 2. Okay, there's 2. Okay, 3. And 4. 5. 6. He's dying. He's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it. I think he's gonna puke.
Therek, is a break okay? Up here. Bring's not easy, right? What are people saying? You can't hear. Here we go.
Good job. You're doing a great job, my friend.
I've had too much beer. Therek, I've had too much beer. I can feel the beer. It's 4 beers. That's too much beer. What was I at? I forgot. 12?
13 or so, I think.
14. 15.
Oh, he's working for his follow.
This shows
the man.
Yeah.
Dedication. Okay, so he's now left the show completely.
Good sport.
Oh no, here he comes.
15.
Listen, man, that's solid.
Oh man, I see. We were talking the whole time, but you couldn't hear us. We were having a good time watching that. That was very entertaining.
Solid.
I'll have to watch it back. I think.
I thought
I gotta be honest. I think I could have easily done 20 if I didn't drink 3 beers. I can feel the beer like here.
That's your excuse
Now,
for everything.
Picture the way you're feeling right now, and then imagine going, all right, we're going to pop you into the channel now.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you got me back. You guys got me.
Yeah.
You just got clipped.
Well done, sir.
I'll go back and watch it. Well, thank you for that. I think it's your fault.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry and not sorry, to be honest. I think it's a Pantheon first. I think I might have started the thing.
Can we start, Therek, can we do a weekly Pantheon 30-minute workout video?
Absolutely not.
We'll be the most buff.
That is not what I'm here for.
We'll be the most buff in shape community ever.
I mean, why don't we start a I know it's not an actual ailment like everything else, but we could just start push-ups for Pantheon, and just
we could start. Oh my gosh, record it and put it on Twitter. You know what? We're doing it. And Idiotech, we're gonna do push-ups for Pantheon. We're doing it.
Listen, I'll do it.
We all need to be healthy when the game comes out. So
yeah. And listen, with that downtime that we have with the slower gameplay, you can do some push-ups in between while you're here.
Bring over the weight.
They need to put that as an emote in the game. Push-ups.
I do like this.
/ push-up.
So Venexia jumped in. I'm not so out of breath. And they said, wait, what? I just joined. Minus looks different. It's probably because I'm so buff now. From all those push-ups. So,
yeah, man.
Pretty jacked. Yeah, still out of breath. Somebody call the ambulance. All right, Idiotech, you just added so much to this show. I appreciate it, man.
Of course, man. I did want to say one thing before I go. And it's something you said right before I had popped in when you guys were chatting. Where you were saying acclimation is how much you guys enjoyed it, the sounds and all that. It's the last thing on my list here. So I think that acclimation is supposed to be a distraction. I get the idea that it might be on the screen and it's going to be a little annoying, but again, going back to playing FF, one thing about Final Fantasy is the draw distance from your character max is the minimum on WoW, if I'm saying that right. You're really close. Yeah. So when you're traveling through the world and something might be to the left of you that you're trying not to aggro, it is just inherently more difficult than when in WoW you can pan yourself out 100 miles and you're a little speck on the on the plane. Mm-hmm. So I think that I genuinely think that that's going to be one of the things that makes the acclimation system as good as it is. It's that it is limiting our stats and everything else, but it's also limiting our view of what is going on in different ways.
It's a great point. Jared talked about doing camouflage.
Corpse Twister right? Just said in chat, you just got 15 push-ups from the 61-year-old Gur. That's awesome. This is my new favorite thing. Yes. Healthy Pantheon players, a healthy Pantheon community. By the most unhealthy person ever. That's the best part of all this, I think.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it. By the time Pantheon comes out, we should all take before and after pictures, sideways and stuff. And then this was us before Pantheon patient. This is us after.
I've had a head start, I will say, and I'm not, just like you were saying with pandering before, through the months off and unemployment that I had, I gained a decent amount of weight. And actually since September, I'm 40 pounds now.
Nice.
So
nice. Congrats, man.
That I just feel better, and it's funny because I usually associate getting healthier and losing weight with being outside, and it's still been inside. I've just been working out and doing my thing. So yeah, man, we got to stay healthy. We got to be here, for the trolls.
Before COVID, I was in
2040.
Yeah, before COVID, I was in the best shape of my life, but not now. So.
No.
Listen, you will be a few beers, and no matter work you guys put in.
Well, it is a Mick Ultra, so I mean, it's not many calories.
That's still a slice of bread each one.
Well, Idiotech,
Right.
thank you. I'm going to pour this out.
Of course,
I'm kidding.
man. No, thanks. Thank you guys.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Cheers,
that was
buddy.
an awesome impromptu segment. Good stuff, man. Take care.
No problem, man. I'll be here still.
All right. Later, dude.
Therek.
Crazy.
That was brutal.
Crazy. Yeah. Wow.
What was Sacred? Did Sacred talk trash on me? Did he?
No. Well, he was saying about military push-ups, something. I don't know what he was talking about.
Him and his fitness. Did you ever see him stream? He's got like big arms and his shirt's real tight.
Yeah.
Jealous.
I've seen him.
He sits like this. He sits like this too. Like, watch. This is how Sacred sits on stream, but his arms up here, like flexed. He's like, "Hey guys, like the lighting's all on it, like real good. What's up, guys? How are you?"
Just a bicep with his arms.
His mouth
sort
is
of
like
head
up this
peeking out
high.
over the bicep.
What's up, guys? Just programming some classes here, guys, and playing some shooters. Hold on a second. Yeah, he's flexing. His shirt rips. Oh, sorry, guys. I got to go get another one. Yeah. Sacred. Listen, and his lighting, it's perfect. It's only on his arm. He's got like one big arm light. I'm telling you, that's true. Sacred, deny it. I dare you. Let's get back in. Let's get back into DM Harms. So DM Harms, you're in there. I call you DM Harms because I think it's Desrin. Is that right? Desrin?
I think so.
Yeah. He has to adjust the lighting because it reflects too much. You can't see anything if it hits it at a wrong angle. See, Sacred knows. Desrin, if you're there, I am going to bring you down. If you want to unmute your microphone and your headset in Discord, we'll bring you into the live room. There he is. Bringing him in. Mr. Harms, how are you?
Hello again, guys.
Was that ridiculous? That was ridiculous, right?
That was wonderful. We should do that every time you hit any kind of
milestone.
Agreed.
I'm still out of breath. Like I'm so bad in shape. It's crazy.
You got to pay the price for pandering, man. That's the price.
That's right.
You need to install like a chin up bar in your little house there, and
you want to know something? No, this is interesting. So when I started working out, I went to like dumbbells, and listen, guys, I'm weak. Like I've never lifted or worked out in my life, so you're gonna make fun of me. But I started with 15-pound dumbbells. It was easy, right? So like I would do like 20 rep sets, and then I went to 20, and then I went to 25. So I'm using 25s now. And it's interesting because I started to actually gain muscle mass for the first time in my life, but I have never done a successful pull-up in my life. Ever. My whole life. So like
I'm not gonna make fun of you, but
I'm not either, because I'm not sure I have either.
Here's what's funny though. When I started getting muscle mass in my arms and like lifting and stuff a lot, it's like, I need to find a place to go try a pull-up. Like that's the first thing I thought of. Because of all the times in gym class that it was just awful because I couldn't do a pull-up. So anyway, this show has taken a strange turn.
It has taken a strange turn.
I kind of love it. It's its own thing. I love it.
Yeah. What's on your mind about the stream? What did you like? What did you stood out to you?
It's always like a hard thing because, like Idiotech said, like I take notes too, just because I can't process everything all at once, you know. So I just have all sorts of crap here. But like, if I just randomly pick off of something that you guys kind of touched on, that even though it was kind of an art stream, my brain always goes to like game design, and so I kind of took that little Y road there. But we started to talk about kind of like how creatures progress to be more interesting, and it seems like Jared's on board with that, and kind of the detail they're putting into the lore, and why all of these creatures are in the game or will be in the game. But it definitely got my ticker kind of going for comparing what Pantheon might be to other games that are out right now, in how you start out the game and there's the MMO trope of like killing rats, right? And I was joking in my head about like, man, over the years the rats have gotten bigger, like
yeah, we're killing them all. How's that happen?
exactly But like, I think as the years kind of went on, the games kind of have to like one up each other, right? So before you know it, some games you start out with that kind of the backstory where you play your character when they're like high level and you're doing all this interesting stuff. And then you gotta get snapped back to, you know, the low level stuff. But I'm seeing like a lot less of that kind of low level, just peasant creatures in games now.
Mhm.
And realizing it, a lot of people might see that as is like boring, you know, killing snakes, right? Like that's what we were talking about in chat. It's killing snakes and the snakes kicking and all that. But the truth is, like, there needs to be that kind of progression to more interesting things. Like there needs to be a sense of like, I came from here. Like, you know, when I rolled my character, I was fighting, you know, pigs, and now I'm fighting, you know, the freaking Veil. What are they? Veil
Striders or the
Veil Striders, or all, you know, all like just that progression of like, man, I'm fighting more and more interesting things as being kind of a secondary, I don't know, thing under your belt, notch on your belt. As opposed to just like, hey, my levels are here, my numbers are here. You know, I'm really big advocate of the, you know, feeling like you're progressing without having a number attached to it.
I agree. You know, one of the things when you were saying that I was thinking about is the level of detail. Games, MMOs right now tend to be very fast. We talked about the pace of combat, the speed of combat earlier, time to kill.
Yeah.
This game's going to take longer to time to kill. And what that also means beyond from like a combat balancing standpoint is you have time to look at the creature. You have time to, you know, appreciate the artwork of the creature and the design of the creatures, right? Like even just in the video they showed fighting the orcs, and, you know, you see more detail when you have time and it's not just dead in 10 seconds, right? And the reward, like you're talking about, of moving from the basic areas and progressing as a character and leveling up is getting to these much more detailed characters. We saw the, you know, on the bear creature where the horns and the sort of the jagged pieces would stick out. There was more detail as they got more and more wild, I guess, like they were talking about moving farther away from the civilized areas. So I think that's the reward, is that you get to see these awesome looking creatures like you were talking about, but also having the time to see the detail is such a huge thing for me.
Yeah, they even talked about like distribution when he's kind of you know, brainstorming. It's like how things are distributed around the world, where you have your semi-normal looking stuff, but then you kind of go into the more treacherous, the more off the beaten path areas. You kind of get more off the beaten path creatures. And that gives incentive to explore, you know, like there's a lot of repercussions for like little details of thought like this that I'm just so happy to hear.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm right there with you with that. Yeah, and you know, the creatures are huge too. So big, you know, they showed a lot of these creatures, and all of them.
Well, that's really interesting too. Let me jump in on the large creature thing, because like think about so like I was thinking of Silent Plains, and what's the EQ zone everyone thinks of? Probably like Karana, right?
Yeah, Karana.
So like I remember seeing one of the Karanas had hill giants, right? I just remember seeing these hill giants walking around. It was just so cool, right? And then I thought about like in Burning Crusade, the Fell Reavers, like you'd hear it coming, right? And it was just like this, like most of the time you didn't even fight them, like because you had to like get max level and geared to even have a chance against them. And they were just these big epic beings that like you were like, oh, everybody run away, it's coming, you know, and you hear it coming and you feel it coming. So I really like the fact that these large creatures are going to inhabit these what we know to be pretty large zones, right? Like the one thing that we believe Pantheon will have is it may not, and this is just again me speaking what we think, but is that, you know, Pantheon is going to be probably less total zones than what we're accustomed to in like a big budget MMORPG, but at the same time they're going to be much larger. So it's like you'll spend more time there. You'll be more familiar with the area. You'll grow there. You'll have these memories of the area. And having these giant, huge creatures walking around is just like, it's that reason to come back, right? A lot of Pantheon's development has been about different levels being able to be in the same area, so that number one, you see people with this gear that you want to get. You see the motivation of another player being successful. You can't see that if there's no reason for a higher level to be around you. So these large creatures and stuff like that are awesome. And Joppa just said, that's funny. You can ask the design team. One of the first things I said about Silent Plains is I want this to be our first hill giant moment. So I wasn't super far off. Sometimes my ramblings are on point. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Joppa. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But do you guys know what I mean? It's just,
do you kind of want to jump off of that?
Yeah.
That like how you said, you know, we may not have like as many zones, but they may be, you know, bigger. How I like to think about that is because any game can make, you know, huge zones, right? Like it, and I think we kind of substitute like big zones for being like really impressive. When I don't know about you, but I have played games that have huge zones that
there's like nothing in it,
not
right?
impressive.
Yeah.
You know, but like how I'm trying to think of it is like we may have less zones, or I would even say maybe even smaller zones. I don't know yet, but my hope is that it's not about either of those factors. It's about the importance of the zones, because we just threw back to a memory of three different, well, yeah, you could say three different games, depending on how you look at it, of like a specific instance of, you know, a feeling that we had when we were in this zone. We can mark that in our brains as being like, this was a memory. And I'll be frank, like that never happens for me in modern games anymore. Like the zone is kind of like, it's just kind of like a 2D plane that you just go through. When we were talking earlier about like how we have a chance to look at the mobs, that I had a big conversation with a friend back when I was playing Black Desert. It was hilarious because we were killing stuff for like 2 hours, because that's basically what Black Desert is.
I enjoy the game, but it's definitely, it's not, I don't know. It's like playing Dynasty Warriors.
Like it's got its merits. It totally does. I'm not gonna say Black Desert's a bad game, but the funny thing was, we were going about, you know, grinding or whatever, and then we went off somewhere else, and he was like, man, it was so fun fighting those. Was it kobolds or some creature, right? And I was like, the what? And he's like those things, and I'm like, oh, I literally like didn't even see what they were. Like we just plowed through them, and like,
it's funny. I actually think I know the mobs you're talking about.
Right, and it killed him for hours, but like, did it stick in my brain? Only because I
right there on the stream
didn't pick up.
Oh, we just missed it. Right on the stream, they just showed the battlefield quote. Sorry, I just missed
it. It just feels like that's wasted, right? And Black Desert's a beautiful game with beautiful, you know, creatures, but it's wasted because you just go so fast, you can't see them, you can't appreciate them.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Exactly.
There's a lot of truth in that.
And so all these systems we're talking about right now, like I really want and hope and think that VR's focus isn't on like, hey, we're going to put all these big mobs in, we're going to put all these big zones in, or, you know, all this stuff. I think their focus, which is a unique focus nowadays, is they want everything to be important. And that is a great passion to have, and something that is just so fresh. And I mean, even Jared, like just as he talks, you know, he's not like, hey, I made these cool creatures. I don't think throughout the stream did he even talk about how he like visually appreciates many of these creatures. He spent most of the time talking about the why and what they are and why they're important,
like their essence, and it almost was like being a part of him, like dreaming about this world, right?
Exactly. And that's the kind of like feeling that needs to be imparted to players that you can't really do with just, you know, taking the scale slider and like moving it to the right. Like it's something that has to really be thought through, and it takes longer. It's not the easy road, but it seems like that's the road they're taking.
I agree. I think it's a great choice.
Agreed. I love all the stuff you just brought to the table there. Yeah, I mean, and you know what's funny? I think we've said that about a lot of things in here, a lot of things in Pantheon, you know, from the way Joppa talks. Like, I think that's probably, like, if we go back as far as we can and think about when we talked about like the passion somebody talked with. I remember some of the first times I saw Joppa talk about systems and smile and want to tell us more and doesn't. You just saw this passion radiate from him, right? And then you see that passion in Torque recently. Like he's literally laughing in joy, like giddy, like giggling because he's so excited about what he's seeing. And then Kyle, same thing. You could hear this passion about what he does. How many people in the world are going to have this like super excited passion about netcode? But he did. And you're just starting to see more and more people on the team that the role they have, they really care about it. It's nobody's looking to check the boxes off on a piece of paper and say, I did my job. And it's really interesting to see that because every company has people that just, they're skilled and they're there to do their skill. And then that's it, right? They check off the boxes. They did a great job. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your talent. Because of the small size of this team, because of what they have to overcome constantly, because of this vision to do something different, you're seeing more and more people enroll when we get to meet them and see them on a stream that just have this undeniable passion for the part of the game that they contribute to. And I think that's awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Do you want to hit on any of those, like the speed round that Joppa threw at the end?
What did you have? What do you got? Throw it out there.
I mean, like he just threw this down, but he's talking about lootable props on the ground, the scavenging system, door and keys, enigmatic locks. He just kind of like, slides in there for us. Like there's so much little bits on the end that it's like he had to just take the whole beanbag and like just spill it, before the clock hit. But the whole lootable props on the ground, man, that speaks to me pretty heavily. And it's a little bit, off the subject of the main part of the stream today, but like, I mean, environmental interaction and then the interaction giving something to the player, whether it be an effect, an item, or anything like that. Like, how is that looking for you guys?
I think it's looking really good. He said 3 of my favorite words, and that was very rare finds and very rare loot. Whenever there's that rarity introduced to things, I love that. And he basically said the progress on the world's entire item system is that's what they've made a lot of progress on, and that's great. So not only loot tables, but scavenging, like you said, lootable sort of props, things just laying on the ground. Pretty incredible. I'm all in on that. I love that.
Yeah, just adds more depth of looking around. Again, it's kind of what we talked about before, right? Like there's a reason to do things. It's
that actually pops into one last thing, if you could indulge me here, is when they started talking about like reasons for traversal, like why explore, and the difference between having everything be strong group content and soloable, so to speak, because the truth is, like, if you log in and you don't have 3 or 4 people or more to group with, but you want to explore, like there's got to be some like kind of reason for that, or like in between of why I would go out when I don't have a group. And in my head, I'm like thinking of solutions for that, but it's a big subject, obviously. And
it's a good one.
The
I'll
first
steal it for the rewind.
that would probably be a whole freaking several like hour talk for sure, because there's a lot of ways to solve that problem. But again, that they're just thinking about it at this stage. I was really happy to hear kind of their talks on methodology, balancing that all out. It's good to see, is all. I mean, I could ramble for ages on all this, but
I love it, man. I love that you brought the passion tonight. I appreciate that. Makes our job easy when you're just spitting the passion out and getting excited and giving us great things to discuss and just sharing that excitement with the community. It's awesome, man. I appreciate every word.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, your job's only going to be so easy now that you have to do push-ups every time you hit a goal.
That's right. We need somebody else to shoulder the load.
Hey, I'll be with you on that. I promise.
All right.
Man.
Take it easy, man. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
See you, dude.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap up shortly here, and let's do it by bringing in our compadre, Drac. We'll bring Drac in, and we'll chat a little bit, then wrap up the show. We'll understand from his perspective how ridiculous this show got.
The wizard of our dreams.
The wizard of our dreams. Here he comes, Drac Attack. What's up, Drac? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to watch you do push-ups, so tonight's just for night.
This show got off the rails. I mean, people are saying they like it, but
it started off the rails. Let's be honest. It started off the rails. It just got a little further down the track. That's all that happened there.
what do you mean with episode 1, or do you mean tonight? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, you
got to give the people what they want. You have to give the people what they want.
That's a dangerous road. It's a dangerous road.
He's
You guys
going to
don't
become
know.
known as the push-up streamer.
He's doing all kinds of. I always said, like, I'm not going to be that guy that does stupid stuff on stream, but if the community asks. Community asks. So
we are a community-driven show.
That's right.
I've survived 49 episodes of this without having to do goofy stuff, but
you never know, Drac.
I think it just unlocked
push-ups. It might be me and you running the
Oh
show.
my goodness, that's going to be not good.
You guys will get to see live on air, like medics come in from the side. You won't see the whole thing, but you'll see me put on like a gurney and just taken out.
You need to cut those Pop-Tarts out of your life, my man.
There is no way. Listen, you just do. Isn't it that if you work out a lot, you can still eat some of the bad stuff? You can't cut out Pop-Tarts. You can't.
I'm not sure that's how it works, but we'll go with that.
I don't know. So, Drac, what's up, man? What'd you think? What are you working on? How's things? Are you excited for the Kevin Jordan interview? I mean, you're our last guest tonight, so what's up?
I am super excited about the Kevin Jordan interview. I love all things MMO, and to have an original WoW dev in the building talking is super awesome. And you said something like 2.5 hours of talking with them. That's crazy that he stayed around and talked to you guys for that long.
And it didn't feel like 2.5 hours. Like when I saw the time, I was like, oh no, we've kidnapped this man. Like
we didn't know how long we were going to get him for. And then he mentioned he was streaming right before we started the interview, and he signed off his stream saying, yeah, I'm going to go hang out for 2-3 hours with these guys. And we're like, okay, we got him for 2-3 hours. We're like, okay,
it's true story.
We're good.
Totally true story. So,
but yeah, for the stream, I wrote some things down because I like to take notes too. First thing I noticed was those orcs are looking really good. I don't know if they got like a tune-up or something, but like they looked a lot better in this stream.
They did absolutely. You know what? I can't believe we've gone this whole stream without mentioning this. You said the orcs looking good. How about the female ogre? Where did that come from? Have we seen the female ogre before? I'm not sure we have. I know we've seen artwork of it.
I don't think I've seen it. No, I think that was the first as well. But yeah, there were you could definitely tell there were more attack animations, and like there was a lot more stuff going on for the group than we've ever seen before. Even from the last minus PA stream where you guys were all in the PA with the rogue thing. Those attack animations were not in that stream.
Yeah. I think there were some definitely some noticeable little differences what we saw tonight. So good catch on that. Yeah.
My favorite part of the whole thing was the traveling giant llama thing. I love that. I think that's so awesome. And my first thought went to when they were discussing. I can't remember who was discussing this or where. Maybe it was just us, but we were discussing like auction houses and if there were going to be like town auction houses or like a universal auction house. And I was thinking like if there's specific town auction houses and then there's one giant llama with rats like going between the different towns, like how cool would that be? That would be amazing.
Can you imagine
calling a giant bull yak a llama?
Whatever.
It's sort of close,
No,
sort of
yak llama thing.
Yak mama.
Oh man, yeah. A traveling yak auction house. All right, it's global if you find it.
Whatever, call it what you will. The player base will come up with some creative name for it. Nobody's going to call it actually what it is, right? Like, what was the name of that thing again?
You're asking me.
Joppa said in chat, it's Wister's Temperamental Beast of Burden is what it was called. Actually. Okay. So, nobody's going to call it that, of course. They're going to call it Draxiac or something like that.
Draxiac. Write it down, people.
Write it down. First heard it here. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too. That's a great idea to have this sort of traveling, whatever it ends up being, whether it's a static merchant or whether it's some sort of, auction-esque type thing. Who knows what it'll be, but it's pretty cool, right?
The last thing, real quick, was somebody commented about Love and Ratkin, and Joppa said in the chat that in internal testing, that all the devs loved the idea of Ratkin. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yep.
Oh man, if they do Ratkin, I don't know. Do I do? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen anytime soon. But
The whole
Ratkin
minus his
rogues?
whole race, yeah, Ratkin Rogues minus his whole race thing is up in the air again.
Might give up the
Yeah.
halfling
Every
for the
time I
Ratkin.
think I know what I'm gonna be, there's something thrown in there. I'm gonna say that we're okay. It won't be a launch, so I can't wait till an expansion to make my rogue. So we'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the Ratkin are very cool. I hope that we see more of them.
Isin just said minus his progeny's a rat. Explain that. How in the world does the halfling rogue minus progeny a rat?
Well,
Please, no pictures.
yeah,
Oh man.
that's what
Awesome.
they'll do in the first expansion. Will be half races, so you'll see the halfling rats, the half rats.
So Drac, is it safe to say that you got some good notes on the patch notes, and we might see those up on Pantheon.plus eventually?
You will see some patch notes probably tomorrow. I'll put those up.
Yeah, so for
Nice.
those of you that don't know, we do now have articles on Pantheon.plus. It's been really cool. We've had a lot of community members making articles. We've had people within Pantheon Plus make articles. But one of the cool things that Drac does, he's actually our head writer. So if you have any questions about writing articles, reach out to him. He actually puts out written patch notes for everybody to check out. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that for tomorrow. So thank you for that, Drac.
No problem, man. I will catch you guys later. Thanks for having me on.
All right,
Yeah.
Drac. And
Yeah.
thanks, man. All right, Therek. Well, that's a night. It's a good night. I mean, I'm tired. I'm gonna
Me
pass
too.
out. So
Yeah, well, I'm tired watching you do it. I feel
I did
like I worked
15. I got to be honest. It was I started to fear I wasn't gonna make it to 10, but the humiliation of not making it to 10 really made me push on. Like there's definitely
Fear is a
motivation.
powerful motivator. Fear is one of the best motivators. So I'm proud of you. I think you've
Thanks, buddy.
given yourself some you've earned some cred, some street cred with your push-ups.
I don't know about
I don't know either, but whatever. No, I had a lot of fun tonight, man.
Venexia said
an
he's
enjoyable
glad he
show.
could make it. It was his first P plus stream. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
guys, I was obviously doing the pandering thing as a joke. I do want to make sure anyone who's checked us out for the first time, yes, we probably should ask for follows and subs more to keep us going, and we should ask people to sub, but I don't know. It's weird to me. So from time to time you might hear it, but it's not common. So please don't think we're like a pandering circus here. We do really appreciate it though. Thank you guys for following, and I really got to say, like, it's pretty awesome that we have community members like Sigarda who just is handing out subs to people to help support the channel. I don't know. It's very humbling. I don't know how to respond to that. I feel like I'm never thanking enough. So thank you for that. Thank you to everyone who supports us. Thank you for coming to these streams. Thank you for supporting Pantheon. Because if you didn't do that first, you wouldn't be here. So, and join our Discord if you guys want to chat more. It's a great time. I'm going to link that one more time. It's fun. We're all hanging out there. And it's chill. It's a lot of people talking about Pantheon in a very respectful way. And that's what we do here. And that's why we invite you on. So in the future, if you've just caught this show for the first time, next time we do it, jump in the green room. Come chat with us. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Derek, as always, thank you for your rapid note taking and your obsessive doing that while I'm doing a bunch of other stuff. Appreciate it, man.
No, I always and just a quick thing. Don't forget to check out the Rewind this weekend. Like we said, Kevin Jordan interview. We're gonna both be in chat. I think minus you're gonna be in chat with me, right?
Yeah, I'm off on Sunday. Yep.
Yep. So we'll be hanging out and chatting with you guys if we want to talk while we listen to the interview. So hope to see you guys there.
Yeah, it'll be Sunday. If you guys don't know how the Rewind works, Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time, we launch it on YouTube as a premiere. And when we do that, what it does is it will also go live on Spotify and iTunes. But for the premiere, typically Therek will be there to chat with everybody about the topics we discuss. And this week I'll be there as well. So the chat will be going like crazy while we're listening to it. Remember, it's a podcast. There's a video of like Pantheon footage just to kind of keep your eyes wandering, but it's about the audio. It is definitely a podcast. So if you guys can be there for that, that'd be awesome. It'd be fun to see you guys there. And if not, check it out on demand on YouTube or download it on Spotify or iTunes. We think it's going to be a really good one, and we hope it reaches more Pantheon fans. We get some more people into the community that maybe are WoW fans that haven't heard of Pantheon, We're hoping this gets a little bit of reach. Let's bring in as much family as we can, right there. So
That's right. More family, the better.
Yep.
That time of year.
All right, guys, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It was a great stream. Thank you for VR putting out an awesome stream. So until next time, guys, thank you.
See you next time.